if anyone remembers, there used to be a chain of like general stores called Alco. Everything was like 80% off. So I was like in 7th, 8th grade going through the store and I see the candy bars, they're 80% off. So I bought them all and then took them to school, just flipped them in the hallway. It was kind of sketchy. I was like smuggling them because if you got caught, you like got in trouble. That was one of my first memories of arbitrage, and the opportunities are everywhere.
Those clearance opportunities come because of a bunch of different reasons, right? Every year when it comes to electronics, Walmart always does a huge like clearance, and it's because every year the new model comes out. So they have an excess of the old model they no longer need because they're going to be putting up the new models out on display. So they have to get rid of them. And the fastest way to get rid of them is by lowering the price.
Cheers.
Cheers. What does Josh always say? Ambe?
Gambe.
Gambe.
Gambe. Welcome back to the Doughboys podcast. I'm your host, Logan, joined by my lovely, studly co-hosts, Formosa McGill and Cisco the Goat. We're changing it up today. It's been a while since it was just the Doughboys on the podcast. We've been doing a lot of awesome guests, bringing them on here in their story, talking about all of that. So we're excited to, have an episode with just the boys and really dive in. Today's topic, we're going to be talking about how to get started selling on Amazon, what exactly the business even is, and how you can actually get going and starting that process to building a successful, profitable Amazon side hustle, full-time income, whatever your goals are. So Cisco, I would love it if you could start us off by explaining what is arbitrage and what is it specifically through Amazon that we're always talking about.
Well, arbitrage is a business model as old as time itself. If you look at history, it's been done in business forever, right? And I think even, what's his name, Clear the Shelf, Chris Grant talks about it too. It's one of the most business models that you can find super early in history, even when it comes back to the times when people were trading salt for gold and stuff along those lines, right? So arbitrage, basically what it is you finding something at a lower price and being able to sell it at a higher price somewhere else, right? So we find to steal a line from Logan, the inefficiencies in the marketplace, right? Mm-hmm. We'll find things that Walmart has on super clearance, and then we'll put it on Amazon's platform at its normal retail price or even a little bit higher, or even go to items that are super popular and in demand and can't be found anywhere. Kind of like this past, Q4 Christmas time, the Stanley Cups. The Stanley Cups, you couldn't find them at any sporting goods stores, but everybody wanted them as a Christmas gift. So you would sell them at a higher price on Amazon's platform. And that's the basic gist of arbitrage.
Yeah. And it really is, like, it's been there throughout all of history, and the opportunities are everywhere. There's the saying, one man's trash is another man's treasure. So being able to find that gap and fill that gap in the marketplace is how you're able to successfully do arbitrage. I was actually talking to some people last week about arbitrage in the business, and one of my first memories of doing arbitrage, I don't know if anyone remembers, there used to be a chain of like general stores called Alco. And they were shutting down probably, 8-9 years ago or so, maybe a little more, probably a little more. But anyway, they were shutting down their whole stores and everything was like 80% off. So I was like in 7th, 8th grade going through the store and I see the candy bars, they're 80% off. Like, I can pick up these candy bars for 20 cents. I know I can flip them for $1 at school. So I bought them all and then took them to school, just flipped them in the hallway. It was kind of sketchy. I was like smuggling them because if you got caught, you like got in trouble. That was one of my first memories of arbitrage, and the opportunities are everywhere. You got people like Gary Vee talking about going to yard sales, flipping on eBay. There's people flipping from eBay to Mercari, Facebook to eBay, whatever. There's marketplaces everywhere. The prices are never consistent. And if you can be the person to find that gap, that's when you can profit.
Yeah, I feel like every great entrepreneur has a selling candy at school story. Candy, gum, whatever it is. But no, you're 100% right. Even our friend Seth, Checkmate Flips, eBay to Amazon. eBay to Amazon. There's a bunch of things you can arbitrage, and there's a bunch of different models that kind of go along with it. But we'll save that for a different podcast.
Yeah, it's finding those discrepancies in the market and then capitalizing on it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different reasons why these discrepancies exist. But a question that I actually hear a lot from people who are looking to get into this game is, why wouldn't the stores just sell on Amazon themselves? So let's take someone like Walmart, for example, where they put their items on super clearance. It's not worth it for them to set up the logistics for meeting every single marketplace demand. Instead, it's worth it for them to focus on their existing logistics and then just clearance off what they have. Here's an example. In my own business, I have times where my items get to a point where I just want to liquidate them and get my cash back. If I have that in my business, don't you think a multi-$100 billion company is going to have those same things? Like, it's the same exact problem, just on a much grander scale. Those inefficiencies are always going to exist, regardless of the type or size of business you have.
And those clearance opportunities come because of a bunch of different reasons, right? So every year, when it comes to electronics, Walmart always does a huge like clearance, security, video cameras, and a bunch of different electronics. And it's because every year the new model comes out. So they have an excess of the old model that they no longer need because they're going to be putting up the new models out on display. So they have to get rid of them. And the fastest way to get rid of them is by lowering the price. And there's also inefficiencies when it comes to, regional items, right? So for example, in a place like Illinois or a place like, Virginia, DC, pools in the wintertime aren't going to be very popular because it's going to be cold and freezing outside. Versus if you were in, Florida, Miami, California, and any of those places, I highly doubt it that they were going to be having the same pool clearances that we see in our Walmarts in our area.
Yeah, definitely. So Cisco, now that we know kind of what arbitrage is, how to identify it, why it exists, how do we actually take advantage of these opportunities to profit through the power of Amazon?
First, you have to set up an Amazon account. So you have to set up an account, go buy those items that you find for cheaper and sell them on Amazon. That's the basic.
What kind of account? Like, what if I already have an Amazon Prime account? Am I good for that?
You're going to need to set up an Amazon seller account.
Okay.
So
it's a different page?
Yeah, it's sell.amazon.com, I believe. I don't want to jump in here. Whenever I started my seller account, I used the same as my just regular account, and I do not recommend that because there's never a way to unattach them. So I would recommend, if you want to get started, make a whole new email, make a whole new separate selling account.
Now, would you start up an LLC first before you start up your Amazon account?
I'm not a CPA. This is not financial tax advice, but I would say that generally speaking, that is not necessary. I can tell you, talk to a CPA for your own specific situation, but I can tell you what I did and what's worked for me. When I started, I was just an individual and I ran it that way. I think I registered for a sole prop after a few months, but I ran as just a sole prop for, I don't know, a year and a half. I think I formed my LLC in year 2 or 3. It's really not necessary until maybe you have some assets you're wanting to protect, but it's really not necessary until you're reaching a threshold for a certain amount of profit. And your CPA or your lawyer would be able to tell you more of that. But generally speaking, what I'm saying is you probably don't need it when you're starting.
And an LLC means
limited liability corporation. It's just a kind of a higher up business structure as opposed to just operating as yourself.
It makes the business its own entity, basically.
Yep.
So
does that make it easier to hire employees, that kind of thing?
I never hired employees as a sole prop, but I would assume it's similar. Actually, can you be a sole prop if you have employees? I really don't know. Above my pay grade.
I'm sure you.
So by the time you get there,
I would say yes, because you can get an EIN, which is an employer identification number, as a sole prop.
Yep. Go buy your social.
We need a CPA in the house for these questions.
And then
that was a big fix.
If I'm starting on Amazon, there's multiple platforms to sell on Amazon. What's the best one for me to start at?
Multiple platforms,
like
marketplaces.
No, sorry, structures. So there's like RA, OA,
business models. Yeah, so we're actually the next episode we're making is going to be a deep dive onto that. But kind of a quick overview. The main ones that people talk about are retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, wholesale, and private label. And even within retail arbitrage, there's kind of and I guess OA, but there's kind of a subset of a book model. But generally speaking, I think it's best to start off with retail arbitrage or even specifically books, focusing on low cost items. That way you can focus on a high return on investment and you're spreading out your probably limited capital over a lot of items. That way you're risk mitigating and focusing on higher returns. But yeah, Cisco, I'd love to hear your take on that as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, you basically hit on all those, but kind of going back to the original questions, how to start up a Amazon business, right? So we went over what you need to do. Go to amazonseller.com or sell.amazon.com. Set up your account. Again, you don't need an LLC if you don't have one already set up. You can if you want to. You're going to want to do a little bit more information if you do or you don't, right? And the next step is, they're going to ask you to get verified. The verification process has changed a little bit.
Mhm.
Do you remember how yours was, Logan, when you did yours?
Almost non-existent.
Yeah.
So for my first account, it was almost non-existent. For my second, for the Kindle company, it was a little bit more intense because that was after the change. Basically, you have to have documents ready to prove that you live where you say you live, or your business is registered where you say it's registered. You need to be able to prove that you're not a robot. So you need your ID and all that. And then you're going to have to go through a video interview. This is basically just them, again, confirming that you're a real person and confirming your documents. They'll have you like hold your license up next to your face and all that. It's super chill, but it is a little bit more involved than it used to be.
It's more evasive. Yeah, I mean, so it's like good and bad, right? So the pros of it is that you get it done. You can have it done in the same day. Like they give you, when you go and set everything up, they give you like an appointment time slot that you can choose, and they give you like the times. Typically, sometimes you can have it the same day. If not, typically it's just the next day, right?
Mhm.
Before, and this is where I guess it was better before because it was a lot easier. You didn't have to have your ID up. You didn't have to have any like bank statements with you to show or prove or anything like that. They would just literally send you a postcard with a code on it. And that code you'd have to enter into your seller account, and that was it. Simple as that.
Yeah. It's pretty simple. I believe some people still get those too. They send you, I think it's like FedEx overnight, but it's literally just a piece of paper with a code, and you're going to enter it to verify that you actually received it. Super chill.
Yeah. It looks like a promotional Amazon card, to be honest. If I remember
It does,
correctly.
yeah. It's like, did I just get a gift card in the mail?
Yeah, I honestly almost threw it away the first time.
That would be tragic.
Yeah, that would have been terrible. And
Yeah.
then, but yeah. All right, so you get the code, you get your Amazon seller account set up. Now, what's next, right? You have to go source products, and you need some capital to do that. All right, what is the sweet spot number to start this business with feeling little risk?
Sure. So when people ask me this question, I'm going to say, obviously, the more capital that you have to invest in your business, the better. But if you have a ton of capital, like let's say someone came to me and I've got 20 grand to start this business, I would say, awesome. You're going to be off to a great start, but I want you to take probably 19 of that, set it to the side and forget about it. Put it in a separate bank account, whatever. You've got 20 grand to invest. That's awesome, but we're not even going to touch it for now, because what's going to happen is you're going to get all excited. You're going to think that you know what you're doing, and you're going to blow your 20 grand on crappy inventory. What we want to happen is we want to save that for once we're experienced, and we want to take a small subset of our capital now and make mistakes, learn the business, learn the process, know how to read a keep a chart, know how to make sure that your products are actually going to sell, understand the logistics and all that. And then once you've made your mistakes and you've put in the work to become more experienced, then you can go and take care of their 19 and apply it on actual good profitable inventory. Generally, like I've seen people start, you can start with nothing, right? You don't have any money, go scan books in your house. You got money there. Go somewhere, yard sales, whatever. You can start with a very, very small amount of capital. But I think generally the sweet spot is, maybe $500 to $1,000 is a pretty good starting amount.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree, right? And let's say you're a student, you don't have a job, you don't have anything really in your dorm room that you can sell. Like, what do you do then? Like, if you have no capital to start at all, what would you advise?
Like, there's a few different things. You need to get capital somehow. Maybe scan some books that you have. Go yard sailing and flip that stuff on Facebook Marketplace. Do something to build up capital. Maybe go work at McDonald's. I've talked about this with people before, actually. They complain that they don't have enough money to put into their Amazon business, but then they're not willing to go work at McDonald's. The money's there. You just got to be willing to put in the sweat equity to get it.
And the time.
Yep. Expand your time horizon. Things aren't going to happen overnight.
Yeah, like I said, like you're a college student, you don't really have anything. More than likely, you probably have a gaming system. More than likely, you have a couple things laying around that you really don't need. If you really want to, start this business and start working towards something, to building something, you might need to sacrifice that gaming system for the next 2-3 months, right? And I say that because once you sell that and use that capital to start your Amazon business, you're probably going to be able to rebuy it in the next 2 to 3 months anyways. So that's one way, right?
That's one thing. But if you're in college, I mean, you're honestly on a gold mine because like there's a million ways you can get stuff. You could wait till the end of a semester when everyone throws away their perfectly good stuff because they don't
Arbitrage. They need to get rid of it.
Move out of their dorm. Yep. You can just go to your friends and be like, "Hey, you using this book?" They're not using the textbook. They just want to get $20 for it. You don't have $20, you can borrow $20 from your mom or your dad or your brother or whatever. You know what I mean?
If you're a valid driver,
or set them up on a what's the word? It starts with a C. It's where like you list it for them, and then consignment. Set them up on consignment, list all their books for them, sell them, and then give them a cut after it sells. There's tons of ideas.
Check out your library. If you're in university, the libraries are all of them now. If they're not done already, they're just throwing away books for free or cents on the dollar.
Mm-hmm. Go knock on Alpha Candle, see if they're hiring. Maybe they need some more candle makers.
Exactly,
it's a real possibility.
Yep. I will
see if they want to
go ahead and just save you your time, though. We're currently not hiring, but maybe check back in a few months.
There you go. All right. So we got the capital, right? We built up $1,000 to get started. Now what do I do? Just go straight to TJ Maxx and start scanning things?
I would not recommend that. So first off, what do you mean by scanning? So there's different apps that you need. So your Amazon Seller Central app that is free with your seller account. So definitely you need that one. The only other tool that I believe is absolutely necessary is going to be Keepa. Keepa is a tool that allows you to see the historical data for pretty much any product on Amazon. This is key because we want to use historical data to predict future behavior. So by studying Keepa, we can look at past price, past velocity, past competition, all that to make sure that our products are actually going to be viable. It runs about $20 a month, so it's super, super affordable. I would say you need that one. That combined with your Amazon Seller app, and you are ready to go. There's other nicer tools out there, Seller Amp, Scoutify with Inventory Lab, all that you can get if you have more capital. But if you're limited, those two are all you need. You get those apps. No, I would not go to TJ Maxx. I always recommend people go to like Dollar Tree. Maybe you do books at like Salvation Army, Goodwill. But the key here is focusing on cheap, high return items. This is important because you have limited amount of capital. You need to be getting high returns on your investment. But more importantly, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know how to read that Keepa chart. You don't know how to gauge profitability. So if you're going to make a mistake, do you want to do that on a $15, $20 item at TJ Maxx or a $1.25 item at Dollar Tree? I would rather make the mistake on $1 and lose $1 than $20. So you're going to make mistakes when you're starting out. Start in low risk environments, and then over time you can build your way up as you gain experience.
Yep. And don't forget to educate yourself as you're doing all of this simultaneously. Make sure you're looking up YouTube videos, listening to this podcast, looking up Logan's videos, and just learning simultaneously. There's a bunch of resources online. Funny story, right? Because I'm a doer. So I learned about Amazon. I started, opened up an Amazon account, and I opened an Amazon account, and before you can put in your PIN, you can still access the seller account. So I would just go to Walmart randomly, not knowing anything about sales rank or anything along those lines. And I would just look up, like, scan random things at Walmart. And I bought 10, 20 different things, came back home, got my little PIN, entered the little PIN into the little seller account, watched some more YouTube videos, and I realized everything that I bought was trash. Had to go back the next day and return it. But you should be, as you're learning, you should still go out there and try to do what you do know, because that's the best way you're going to learn is by making those mistakes anyways.
Yeah. I mean, when you say that, what jumped into my head is with our VAs, whenever we hire a new VA, they're spending their first few weeks heavy on training, but also on the first day, we make sure to give them a sale to go source. Because while they're learning, developing, getting training and all that, they still need to be out and going and applying what they're learning. Super important. Same.
Gotta put the reps in.
Yeah, it's all about those reps. Cisco, you mentioned something called sales rank. What's that?
Oh, it's the most important metric out of everything on Amazon.
What is it?
No, I'm just kidding. So sales rank, technically, defines the sales velocity of a certain item in a category, right? So it's broken down into different categories. So you have toys, you have beauty, you have home and kitchen, etc. Right? So basically, if it has a sales rank of 1, it means it is the fastest selling item in that category. Basically, what it means.
So I should just use sales rank to determine velocity, right?
It is one of the key indicators, right? So let's break it down, right? So if you have a high sales rank, let's say 120K sales rank, but there's also 150 sellers on it, then are probably going to sounds dangerous, and you're probably going to be unlikely to sell that item very frequently. So that's kind of refers back to what you were talking about, Logan, is learning Keepa and figuring out like what indicators are important on there, because sales rank is one of the indicators, right? Because it measures velocity, but you also want to take a look at how many sellers are on there. If if there's a specific spike because it's a seasonal item and maybe the season's ending, so you want to make sure you take that into consideration. There's a bunch of things. Sales rank, in my opinion, is an indicator, but it's not the only indicator. You have to paint a whole picture, and that's just part of the picture.
Yeah, I'm going to go off on a bit of a rant here. I'm known for saying sales rank doesn't matter. You said it's probably the most important metric, and in a way, you're right. It helps us determine velocity. But here's the thing. Here's what gets me riled up. People will set a sales rank threshold, and they'll use sales rank as a determining factor for if they're going to buy a product or not. What if it's ranked, 500K, but it's been out of stock for the last 6 months? When it's in stock, it sells like crazy. What if it's, it's a little bit of a slower seller, but it makes you $500 profit? What if there's only 2 other people selling on the listing? What if it's ranked 10 right now, but for the rest of the year, it's ranked 1 million? Sales rank is a snapshot in time. Sales rank should never be a deciding factor for whether or not you're going to buy a product. You need to use Keepa and look at the sales rank history and compare that to all the other metrics on the listing. Stop using sales rank thresholds.
We're going to do a Keepa deep dive.
Yes, we do. That was probably advanced for this video, but I had 100%.
You went over everyone's head just now.
I did. Come back and rewatch that clip in a few months.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so we figured out that we need some software, we need some education. So you got some education under your belt. You're ready to go with your phone. Maybe you have Inventory Lab and you have Scoutify. You just have the regular Amazon seller scanner. Doesn't matter. Now you're ready to go. I walk into Walmart. What's the first section you're going to?
So I'll walk you through my route. Everyone has their route and their preference. I like to personally go and start off at the clearance section, because that's where you're going to find some bangers. Those items are marked way down. You're going to have some nice profit, nice ROI, but I would say it's a bit inconsistent. So they're not going to be like replen type items, maybe hot sales. But I like to start off at the clearance section. Then from there, I always like to go to toys. I find a lot of good replens in toys. So you literally start at one section of the aisle and move all your way down, scanning every single item and checking to see if they're profitable, if they're going to sell, all that good stuff, every single item. And by doing that, you're going to find the replens that other people won't, because they just scan what they think looks cool or what's marked down or whatever. And what a replen is it's basically an item that you can buy and resell over and over again, building up a base, a collection of base hits for your business that you can always consistently sell. After toys, I would say I usually go check out like the video games, electronics, and from there swing through for like my home and kitchen and grocery replens with that same type of strategy as the toys. That's kind of what my always walk through was. I don't know about you, Cisco.
Yeah, I think to kind of echo what you're saying, when I first started out, it started straight with the clearance. And then the next thing I gravitated to was toys. And now it's typically groceries and then toys and then clearance. But that's just because, you build up a section of items that are replens that you know where to look for them in the regular aisles that don't need to be on clearance and stuff along those lines. But yeah, when you're starting out, you're going to typically just go straight to the clearance aisle. Now, I do have a question for you, just because some of us might not be baseball fans. What are base hits?
Base hit. So base hit, it's like a 25% ROI, few dollar profit, sells decent amount of money. The base hit is basically an okay item, but it's nice because you can always get your hands on it, or you can always get your hands on it. It's not I'm making $15 profit, 100% ROI. It's not that grand slam home run amazing product. It's an okay product. But by building up 20, 30, 40 base hit products, that's how you build your business. Business is built on base hits. It's not just the inconsistent but awesome unicorn products. It's consistently being able to make profit.
The unicorn just brings it up to the next level for a season.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get those unicorns too. You got to. But do both. It's not an and or. You do your base hits and you do your grand slams. Right there, we got a unicorn.
It's a penguin corn.
Unicorn items are rare. Base hits are a lot more common.
Yeah.
And if you're not hitting base hits, you're not putting yourself in position to score.
I would say, in my experience, there's generally always a few unicorns that last like, I don't know, maybe a couple months at a time. Then they die.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
I'm sure if you're watching, yeah, exactly. And I'm sure, if you're watching this video, I'm sure at some point you've heard about, chlorine or
Chlorine Cartel.
Yeah.
The Pool Patrol back in the
Patrol.
day. Shout out Reezy Ninjas, by the way, for putting us on
every
that.
video. You guys love talking.
Shout out
about
Reezy.
Bro, because you don't understand. It was literally printing.
It was
money.
crazy.
I
People were
literally
buying houses. It was nuts. The Chlorine Cartel.
Imagine going into chlorine, just getting your COVID relief loan, whatever it was that they were handing out, and then you have all this capital to walk into Costco and buy all the chlorine in there.
If Costco were smart, they would have raised their price on chlorine.
I think they did.
Yeah, but that's the other thing. That's why you're able to find some of these inefficiencies in the market, because they're such a big retailers. They move slow. They're not able to pivot and adjust to these market changes as fast or as quick. And they also have to be concerned with any backlash that happens. They're big.
But if you're selling out every day, you said that they got to a point where they were limit. It was kind of like the toilet paper in COVID. Like they were just like, you can only buy one load. They started like limiting the amount customers could buy.
Yeah.
At that point, you need to raise your price. If you're having problems keeping your shelf stocked in your store.
Yeah, but also because they don't have third parties selling. They're not, they don't have third party people selling in their stores. They're also more affected by gouging laws that are in, state to state. I don't know what they are in every single state, but they have to abide by those guidelines as well. They can't just raise the price just because. It's not a gas station. It's not going to go up 10 cents the next day just because.
All right, so we know how to go find our products. Definitely watch some videos deep diving Keepa and how to actually determine if your products are going to be good. Let's say, Cisco, we just found some products. What's the next step?
You see if you like it, and maybe you keep a couple for yourself, personal use.
Definitely don't do that.
What's the saying? Don't have fun on your own supply, right? Is that what they say? But yeah, no. So you get all your stuff, right? You have to. We're assuming you have your shipping supplies, right? You have your boxes, you have your tape, you have all that good stuff, right?
Where do we get those?
All right. So if there's a bunch of different places you can get your supplies. If you're just starting out, more than likely you're gonna get your stuff from Walmart or Home Depot or Lowe's. I originally got my boxes.
Come on. Get your FBA boxes out of a dumpster. You don't need to be spending $2-3 on a box when you're starting out. We're in the trenches, man.
I think you'll be fine. I think you'll be fine.
$2 or $3 when you only have $100 to spend on inventory. Come on.
No, I think we already established that we have between $500 to $1,000 here. Okay.
All right. Either way.
So this is
a few
the
bucks out of
concept.
500 is pretty precious. I'm gonna fight this.
Listen, Linda, you'll be fine. You probably only picked up a handful of things anyways. So you're gonna get your boxes out of a dumpster, get it at Walmart, get it at Lowe's, get it at Home Depot. Right? Get a couple different sizes, get tape, and you're probably gonna want to get some poly bags off of what's Logan's site.
You don't get tape out of the dumpster. That's ridiculous.
Can you get box stuffing from the dumpsters?
You could probably just use the gum
Maybe
out of the dumpster box to just gum it together.
So where do you get your poly bags, Cisco?
I get them from Amazon. Where do you get yours?
I get the Lamborghini of poly bags. Shout out iLoveSupplies.com.
I get the Spartan Warrior.
Spartan is good too. That's who I used before I Love.
Yeah, I use Spartan.
Whoever you switch to is better. The Lamborghini.
So anyways, you get all that good stuff. And if you have enough capital, you can definitely go with Inventory Lab. More than likely, your first shipment is going to be straight out of Amazon's website. So you go and create an order, or you create a shipment. And this is probably going to need a whole tutorial video, to be quite honest.
Video. That's so
cool. It really is. So
I know how to do it, and I'm already lost, Cisco.
The idea is they're going to create a shipment off of Amazon seller platform, right? And you're going to enter all of your items in there, and they're going to tell you where each item is going to go to. You're going to hope and cross your fingers that you can send everything to one place. So we're going to go based off that assumption. You put everything into one box. Close the box. Make sure there's no extra room in the box. If there is, you're gonna need to
you just throw everything. I can just throw everything in a box. If it fits, it can go into Amazon.
Yeah.
Really? There's no other like stipulations?
Well, it needs to be
What's
under 50 pounds and under 24 inches, 25 inches.
Oh, there's a weight limit?
Yeah, that would be the stipulation.
Okay.
You know what, Josh? You're the expert here.
You are the expert. You ran a warehouse.
You should be explaining this one.
I'm going to advise you to spend some of your precious capital that Logan's talking about on inventory labs, especially if you're first starting out, because you want to spend as little time on the Amazon Seller Central page as you can. It's a landmine for potential disaster. So just get inventory labs. It's safe. It's easy. You can see everything.
I think I have a bit of a hot take here, actually, and you never used it much. I think I'm actually Team Scan Power. I don't think I'm Team Inventory Lab anymore.
What? Yeah. What is this?
Yeah.
Boxed is definitely way better. They've developed it a lot more over the last year, and it's more affordable, and their customer service actually exists.
What is more affordable?
Cheaper.
No, okay, I understand the definition, but what do you mean? How much is it? Like, I'm saying, how much does it cost?
I don't know. How much is the inventory lab? Is inventory lab?
They raised their price. It's 70 now. It's actually. Let me check box plan.
Nice.
I want to say it was only like 15
inventory
a month.
lab just for that. So on inventory lab, what Cisco's talking about, it's a little bit more complicated if you're doing like RA. But if you're doing like, you're gonna upload all the stuff that you want to send into Amazon currently. Let's say you have 50 items. They're gonna show up. And then, like Cisco said, hopefully they're sending them all to one Amazon warehouse. And then you're going to scan them into the box. Let's say they all fit in your box, right? Your box can't be overflowing. You have to be able to close the lid, and you got to be able to put dunnage on the bottom and the top. You want to protect your product. Amazon will beat the living piss out of your box and all of your product. And then it's going to weigh under 60 pounds. I would wait 50 pounds. 50 pounds. I'd advise you stop your box weight limit at 45 pounds. If you have boxes go in overweight and you don't know what the difference in your scale is and their scale, and magical 5 pounds appeared in your box when it got put in the airplane, it's a whole hassle. You don't want to deal with that. So stop at 45, play it safe. But anyways,
seriously, like they'll charge you and remove your FBA privileges.
They will take away your shipping privileges. It sucks. I didn't have to deal with that because I had an amazing boss, but it was my fault, and it wasn't great times. I didn't feel good about myself. You want to tape up your box? We use the T method. So you go over I'm not going to explain how to tape up a box. You know how to do that. And then Inventory Lab is going to print off the labels over for you. Put the labels by each other. Don't crease them, and put them on the top of the box where you did the T method. Right?
Yeah. So boxed only is $24 a month. At least it was when I was paying for it. So definitely a lot cheaper.
I would say Box's interface is a little less straightforward as someone who's pretty simple minded. But once you figured it out, I definitely see where they're coming from and the efficiency.
A more complex but much more efficient UI once you figure it out.
Definitely. And it's not that hard to figure out. I figured it out. Right?
It's insane. So
if Josh can figure it out, everyone else can figure it out.
That's not even a slight. That's just a true statement. All right.
No, that was a slight. I think you're pretty smart. I think you're actually you undersell how smart you actually are. That's for a different conversation.
Whether we use IL or boxed #low-key team boxed, or we do it and send to Amazon.
T method.
Well, either way, we have our items sent into Amazon.
Yes.
What happens next, Cisco?
They play some sort of
game. Wait. So let's say we're not done yet, okay? We have to talk about the Frankenboxing. Let's say you have all of your items in there, but there's still some gap.
We're getting really advanced in this video.
Listen, you know what? We'll skip the Frankenboxing. Just go look at one of my shorts. I made a whole video on Frankenboxing.
Real quick, shout out Richie Hustles for teaching me Frankenboxing.
What, he taught you?
Yeah, so our items are checked into Amazon. They're live. They're ready for sale. What happens next?
You sit back and let the cash flow in.
Either that or Amazon.
You never have to do anything ever again, right?
No. All over. So now you have everything into Amazon. Everything's checked in. I would really recommend, even if you don't get Inventory Lab, if you don't get Box, whatever, you're going to want to get a repricer. I think the cheapest repricer to start out with is Be Cool. And it starts at like $25 a month. You can do Go Aura. That's what I use currently, but it's $100. And then obviously there's other ones like Seller Snap. That's
Hashtag
more
Team
on
Seller Snap, but not for beginners at all.
Yeah.
Seller Snap is
So
awesome.
Be Cool is the way to go, in my opinion, when you're first starting out, right? It's cheaper and you're able to do, I think, 100 listings with that $25. And so what the repricer is going to do is it's going to keep you competitive with everyone else on the listing. There's going to be people that are also selling the same products as you are, and you're going to want to stay competitive with those people, right? So for example, if the price lowers by a couple cents, you might want to, match that buy box price. Or if a seller sells out,
What's a buy box?
Good question.
it's a box that you buy.
No, what's a buy box? Why would I lower the price? I'm going to keep my cents higher and I'm going to make more money. Why would I lower it? Why do I care about buy box?
So the buy box, when you go into Amazon's platform, the buying platform, when you look up an item, let's say you're looking up, I don't know, a Ninja Turtle toy, right? And it flashes a price off to the side. Yeah, you should. And it flashes a price on the side. That is the buy box price. That's whoever's selling that product, and that's their price. That's who's winning the buy box. So they're typically in that moment getting the most sales, right? So your repricer can keep you competitive in the sense of matching that buy box once you have set your parameters of how low you're willing to take your price down or how high you're willing to take your price down. But it works both ways, not even just lowering it, right? So if one seller sells out and the next person has a higher price, your repricer will jump your price up as well and get those higher prices for you. But that's what I would do.
So what I'm understanding you is you, Cisco, Logan, and I are all selling Ninja Turtles toys in Amazon. We all have them in the warehouse. They're checked in and they're selling, right? And I'm selling mine at $30. Logan's at $30, and you're at $29.99. You're winning the buy box, but you only have 5 Ninja Turtles and you sell out. So then the next person pops up and it's Logan, and he's got like 30 of them. So now he's selling. Only one person is winning sales on Amazon at a time. Not all of our Ninja Turtles are selling all at the same time.
Not exactly.
Kind of.
There's
So it's a little more complicated.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into the buy box. There's also a geographical component. So let's say I'm on the listing and Cisco's on the listing. Cisco could win the buy box for the area where his stuff is in, and I could win it for where mine is in. So like if a shopper is shopping closer to my stuff, then they're probably going to be shown my buy box as opposed to Cisco.
Yeah.
And then also you mentioned like your few in stock versus my 30. If we're just a cent apart, I would say I'm more likely to get the buy box because I have a lot more stock. If it's just 1 cent.
And also talking about like the whole geographical location. Let's say Logan has it for $20, but he's on the West Coast, right? And I have it for $25, so $5 more, and I'm on the East Coast. If an East Coast buyer is looking at it, they're more likely I'm going to have the buy box for them, more than likely, even though I'm $5 more expensive. Because when Amazon looks at it, right, they're going to have to pay more for shipping if they're shipping out Logan's product over because they have to send it from coast to coast. And 2, it's going to take a lot longer.
Yeah, I would say that's the more important one because Amazon is very, customer focused. And even if they had to pay like an extra couple bucks to ship, they want to get it to the customer as fast as possible. Yeah, so the repricer is super important, making sure that you're remaining competitive. And then after that, there's some back end management stuff, but it's really collecting profits and then reinvesting and letting the snowball happen and growing your business. Reinvesting as much as you possibly can and just repeating the process. So yeah, I hope this was helpful. Hopefully this was helpful to you guys. If you have questions, let us know down below. Thanks for watching. Peace.